Hey everyone, yeah, why own up to being personally responsible for any of this division that's happened in this country when you can just play the blame game or try to focus the people's attention elsewhere, right? Because that's what Trudeau's doing. Like I say, well, as we've heard, as we've seen on multiple occasions, he's more than willing to offer up an apology as long as it's based on something that happened way in the past that he had nothing to do with, right? And he'll even give you a fake alligator tear to hopefully sway you into actually believing that he's genuinely sorry for something that he had nothing to do with, right? But as we've seen time and time again, whether it's the SNC Lavalin case or all the other myriad of faux pas and screw-ups he's done along the way, or all this political division that he's created and constructed, he's not going to take any personal responsibility for any of that stuff. I still, to this day, I'm still scratching my head, folks, and more every day, and wondering why, oh why, Canada, did you choose to support? Oh, never mind, I get it. Like I say, legalization and the first past the post. He made two huge promises that didn't turn out to be anything remotely what the people who voted for him for those positions were hoping for. Legalization actually brought about more criminal charges, more restrictions, and more laws on the book to punish people for cultivating or consuming or distributing cannabis or cannabis-related products. So the legalization, yeah, it's been the exact opposite of giving people freedom. It's about more control and making cannabis and cannabis-related products much more expensive than they are in that black or free market. And a much lower quality, I'll add, because I've already heard some feedback from some people who were foolish enough to go buy some of that government-mandated weed, and they're like, yeah, no, I don't care for this stuff much at all, right? Well, maybe you shouldn't have went to support the government. Why would you want to do that? Anyways, I still question that kind of nonsense. But hey, once again, let's get to the other file. The first past the post. Yeah, as soon as they were elected, as soon as they realized how that would work out if there was actual proportional representation in terms of electoral process in this country, they'd be like, oh, no, we can't do that. Someone might actually be able to step up and challenge us. We might actually have someone up in there in question period that comes from some party of 1 or 2 or 5, right? There might be people that aren't part and parcel of the ruling establishment actually challenging us. And we can't control those types, so no, we can't allow that to happen, right? Are you disappointed enough in Trudeau and the federal Liberals yet, Canada? I sure as heck hope so. Headline out of iPolitics, Trudeau says populism and nationalism are to blame for cynicism towards politicians. This is by Charlie Pinkerton, August 29th, 2019. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the politics of populism and nationalism are to blame for rising cynical attitudes towards politicians, as a recent poll of British Columbians indicated. The poll, conducted by Research Co., asked BC residents about specific federal political issues this month and found that just less than a quarter of the people think federal politicians actually care about what happens to people like them. Older British Columbians, 55 and older, were less cynical, with 30% of that population polled responded that they believed politicians cared about what happened to people like them, while less than 1 in 5, 18% respondents aged 18 to 34, felt cared for by their federal representatives. Respond to other questions, more than 7 in 10 of respondents indicated they believe most federal politicians have little to no autonomy and have to follow the party line, while only 2 in 5 British Columbians think federal politicians are trying to do the right thing. Trudeau deflected blame when asked by a reporter on Thursday about his contribution to cynicism directed at politicians. I think we're seeing a rise in cynicism all around the world right now, with excessive populism and exaggerated nationalism, Trudeau said on Thursday during a news conference in Surrey, BC. The politics of attack and division, the politics of vote suppression, of keeping people to cross their arms and stay home instead of coming forward and build and believe and choose a path forward. United States President Donald Trump may be the most notorious modern populist, but Trudeau's comments were impossible to ignore as being a jab at Canadian Conservatives like Ontario Premier Doug Ford and Alberta Premier Jason Kenney, who rode populist waves powered by disgruntled voters to provincial election victories. Oh, you might want to include the People's Party of Canada under the leadership of Maxime Bernier in that little equation, because they're the ones that are actually challenging Trudeau and the Liberals on the federal stage. Well, not just Trudeau Liberals, but the sheer cons, the fake cons, the non-cons, actually the cons, right? Or the NDP and the Greens who are trying to flank them on the left. Yeah, I wouldn't be too awfully concerned about worrying about provincial elections. No, we got the federal elections coming up here real shortly in October. And that's where you're going to see where that rising populism really is genuinely taking a foothold and appealing to large swaths of the people across this country from coast to coast to coast. In his same answer, Trudeau bashed former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, linking him to present day the Conservative Party, now led by Andrew Scheer. Looks like the word "the" should have been put prior or in a different location. So it probably should have been linking him to the present day Conservative Party, now led by, but whatever, it is what it is. Now the Conservatives are coming back with exactly the same approach, which is in direct contrast to our approach, which is investing in Canadians, investing in their communities, investing in other orders of government, Trudeau said. So actually, listen, populism isn't coming from the Conservative Party. Like I say, stop talking about these entrenched political pundits or these political parties that are part and parcel of the ruling class. That's not what's representing populism in this country, right? No, the real populism is challenging the establishment, the status quo, which is Maxime Bernier and the People's Party of Canada on the federal stage. Come on. Like, even this contributed high politics seemingly wants to just completely avoid or ignore the fact that, no, that populism, yeah, that's coming from mostly the People's Party of Canada in terms of their supporters, their candidates, and the kind of people that are wanting to vote for them come this October. It has nothing to do, per se, Doug Ford on the provincial scale, although he could help contribute to that kind of populism, I guess, in some way. But I don't know, not necessarily. Small peas, I think, bit player in terms of actually talking about genuine populist sentiment out there. Come on, Doug Ford. Yeah, he still tried to skirt that middle line a little bit. No, the real populism in this country is predominantly coming from those who are supporters of Maxime Bernier and the People's Party of Canada, because that is the place where the status quo is definitely and genuinely being challenged. Make no mistake about that, folks. Anyways, I'll post a link to this article in the description of the video below, and I'll see you in the next video. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.